little bit of a last minute job. Just gonna real quick show you guys how I dip stuff. I know I've done a video on like beginner how-to videos on how to hydro dip, but you know, I've had some people say like the tank that I dip in, you know, like they don't have a tank. Well, I didn't start in the tank, you know, I literally started in a 5-gallon bucket, which is what I'm about to use because I drained my 300-gallon tank because I wasn't dipping as much. I've been doing a lot of woodwork and stuff, so the tank is, dust is getting in the tank. Stuff was growing on top of the water because I wasn't using it. It wasn't getting filtered, so I just drained the tank. And I just haven't been dipping too much stuff anymore. I'm kind of getting out of it, I guess. Anyway, I do get small jobs here and there, and this is one of those jobs. This is a, it doesn't look like much, but this is a, covers a speedometer. So I've already cleared this with a clear coat just to give the Hydrodip something to stick to. So now that the clear coat, the base coat is there, we'll be doing a carbon fiber. And with the carbon fiber, I need a black base coat, but the piece was already black, so all I had to do was clear over it. We'll prep the film, the Hydrodip film, and then we'll let it soak in the water, dip the piece, and I'll take you guys through the process. So first things first, when I'm dipping this, I like to have a good hold on the piece that I'm dipping, but because this is a weird shape, I'm gonna use some popsicle sticks to make something I can actually like hold on to and have a lot of control, because there's nothing worse than trying to dip something and you just don't have a good handle on it. It's not gonna come out good. So that'll be the first thing. I'm gonna use hot glue, some popsicle sticks, and get a brace made. Every time I do something like this, I'm always making something to hold on to. I never just, well, sometimes I do kind of leave it the way it is, but majority of the time I have to add tape or something like that to give me something to hold on to. Then I'm using hot glue because it's going to be easy to pull off. It won't damage anything, and it won't affect the film as I'm dipping it either. I was actually going to add more than this. I was going to add another, maybe 2 sticks out to hold it, but this will be fine right here. I have plenty of control with it like this, so we'll leave it like this. Get it cleaned up, get it wiped off. Got some hot glue on it. We'll get the film cut right. Meow. This thing is supposed to be ready tomorrow to pick up, and I still haven't really started it, so I'm a little behind schedule. Things have been kind of crazy lately. So I need to get this dip tonight, so tomorrow morning it can get clear coated a couple times and be ready for the afternoon. I work better under pressure. All right, so let's grab the film. So I've already done one piece, like I said, this is going on a motorcycle around the speedometer. I've already done one piece. I believe it was the clutch case cover. I'm not sure, but I'll see if I can put a picture in this video so you guys can see how that turned out. It came out really nice. Sometimes I surprise myself. But this one here is gonna match. I'm gonna use the exact same film, so I have the exact same, it's black carbon fiber with like a bronze tint to it. So let's get a piece cut. I need my tape. So anybody that's thinking about hydro dipping, you don't need a fancy setup. Like I said, I don't even in my tank, it's not a fancy setup. It's literally something just to hold a lot of water so I can do big pieces. If you're starting out in a bucket like I first did, I actually started out in a tote from Walmart after I moved up from a bucket. The only issue is you can only work as big as your bucket or container is. That's the only thing about using a bucket or a tote or something like that. So the bigger container you hold that can hold the water, the bigger pieces you can do. So I mean, I guess you get started wherever you can and just kind of work your way up from there. You don't need any fancy equipment. Alright, so I always try to give myself enough space to work with. You never want to cut. I've cut a few pieces and they ended up just being just big enough to cover the piece. I don't like working like that, but it happens sometimes. Or I run out of film. You know, it takes me like a week, sometimes a week and a half to get new film in. So sometimes I just have to cut it close and hope for the best. And majority of the time it'll work out, but there have been times where it didn't work out. I cut it too close, and then I had to start all over, strip it all down, and add a new base coat and literally start from scratch. All right. I also keep all my film, so the film I keep in the garage, I try to keep them in containers like this just to keep the humidity out. If humidity gets to your film, it'll pretty much destroy it, especially once it gets stuck together. So if it's not kept in the house, then I keep it in these out here in the garage, just in case you guys were wondering. All right, so with the film, there's a shiny side and there's like this matte finish dull side. The shiny side goes down into the water and you dip through the dull side. So I have made that mistake before, once. So I'm adding a tape border because when I put this in the water and I spray it, the activator I'm spraying right here, it's gonna expand. If I don't have a border or something up here to keep the film together, it'll literally just blow apart. It'll get so spread out that it won't be useful. Trying to make sure I tell you guys everything that I know. So if you're thinking about doing this, you can do it too. Another question I get asked a lot is, what's the process of this? And it's kind of like, I always explain it like a sandwich. You know, you got your bottom half, the shiny side that goes in the water, and that absorbs water, and whenever it, I guess, absorbs as much water as it can, it'll lay flat, perfectly flat. So when I put it in there, it'll try to crinkle together. As it absorbs water, it'll stretch back out. And then I spray an activator on top. Once the bottom is done, I'll spray an activator on top, which I guess you could say dissolves like a really fine layer on top, which leaves just the middle part, like the meat of the sandwich, and that's what you dip through. All right, now let's get our bucket of water. Another thing, when you're trying to put this in the water, if any water gets on top of the film is pretty much trash. So you have to be careful. Also, you don't want your fingers wet. This film has to stay dry until it's in the water, just like that. And these air bubbles, they have to come out. If not, the film won't absorb the water in that spot where the air bubble's sitting. I'm trying to make sure you guys can see this. Yep, perfect. You see it's starting to shrink together like I was saying. And then after a few seconds of it absorbing the water, it'll blow back out, stretch back out. I don't want the film to crinkle together and stick because it's carbon fiber and it'll be obvious. I also don't want my hair in the bucket. So another thing I do sometimes, you see these lines in here. So like I said, if those stick together, when I first put this in there, if I didn't keep blowing it to keep those lines apart, it would have stuck together and you would have saw creases, and this is carbon fiber, so obviously you know what kind of pattern it should be. But you would have saw those lines in there and creases, and pretty much to me is trash after that. But sometime I'll, if I have a bigger container, like when I do it in the, there we go. When I do it in my big tank, let me show you the big tank for those of you that haven't seen it. This was my tank. It holds about 250 gallons. It's about 4 feet deep. I don't know, maybe 4 feet, maybe like 3.5, 4 feet deep. It's 40 inches by 40 inches. It's an old IBC tote that I got for a really good deal. I cut the top off, and that's what I dipped in for 2 years. But now, like I said, I'm only doing woodwork and stuff, so it was just kind of collecting dust and growing mold and collecting bugs. So I just drained the whole tank. Anyway, if I have a bigger tank, let's get back over here. If I have a bigger tank, I'll put before I do the tape border, I'll cut my film out, put the film in the water, and then after it absorbs water and becomes completely flat, it looks like glass like it does now, which I'll show you in a minute, then I'll put my tape over it so that whenever it's absorbing water and it's shrinking before it expands, once it shrinks, you know, if that tape is on there and I didn't blow, like I said, it would have those creases. So I'll put the film in there, let it absorb the water, it expands, then I put my tape border. So let's grab the activator now, and then we'll spray it and be good to go. I do have a couple bubbles still underneath, but they're in spots that I won't use, so it doesn't really matter. So those are good to go. Let's get the activator. This is my activator. It's made by Southern Hydrographics. That's who I get a lot of my film from. This stuff is really strong, so once I spray this, that'll be it for the night. All right, so right now, like I said, you saw all those creases that were in there. It contracted, it absorbed the water, it expanded, and now once it looks like this, you're good to spray your activator on it. You just want to do good coverage. Make sure you're not, you know, putting all the activator in one spot. You want to do nice, even flow passes. You want to do nice, even passes, a nice flow, and then you're good to dip. I don't think I had enough activator. Let's clean this up a little bit. Yeah, that didn't work at all. You can see that didn't stick. So we're gonna have to redo this. See, not everything works out the first time. That felt a lot better. That looks a lot better. This side here, I don't know if I'm being picky, but I'm not too fond of it. See, this piece right here didn't, oh, let's do it again. It's gotta be perfect. It's gotta be perfect. I can't give something. If the whole thing looked like this, we would have been good to go. I mean, I could probably get away with that, but I'm a perfectionist and I can't let this go out the door like that. All right, so I can live with this one. There is one little piece right there, but that one's good. That's good. All right, we're good to go. Now, after you dip something, there's gonna be this slimy film left over, which is the bottom layer that dissolved first in the water before we spray the activator. So you have to rinse that off. Once that's rinsed off, which it already is, I'll let this dry overnight. Everything that I dip that gets touched a lot, I'll add, an extra 2 or 3 coats of clear on it, just because, you want it to stand up to being touched all the time. But stuff like this, that's, maybe once or twice in its lifetime. I really don't clear coat too many times, maybe 2, just enough, to give it a protective coating on it. That's really all I'm gonna do to this one. So this one's done. We'll clear coat it tomorrow and this can get picked up.